It was a bitterly cold Sunday in Minnesota, the kind that bites through 2 layers of gloves. Inside, though, the temperature was boiling. This was not just another hockey game. This was the 32nd gold medal match in World Junior Championship history, and for the first time ever, it would be contested by Sweden and Czechia. One nation carried decades of heartbreak and a 14-year gold drought on its shoulders. The other, resurgent and stubbornly proud, had stormed back from an opening night loss and now stood 1 win away from its first title since 2001. Before we continue, if you've ever been frustrated switching between streaming services that just don't deliver the quality you expect or miss content you care about, check the link in the description below for a platform that could give you a better experience. The stage, Minnesota's Grand Casino Arena, decked out for the tournament's 50th anniversary. The stakes, national pride, personal dreams, and the chance to rewrite history. Sweden arrived unbeaten at 6-0, having rolled through Group A and silenced the home crowd with a 6-3 triumph over the United States on New Year's Eve. They then dispatched Latvia in the quarterfinals and edged arch-rival Finland in a wild 4-3 shootout, a game described by coach Magnus Havelid as crazy. Their roster blended high-end draft picks with experienced pros. Anton Frundell, Chicago's 3rd overall pick, centered a lethal top line. Victor Eklund and Ivar Stenberg, a consensus top 3 2026 draft prospect, rounded out a dynamic attack. In goal, Love Harenstam, a St. Louis Blues prospect, had quietly stolen the tournament, posting sublime numbers and earning best goaltender honors. Yet behind every Swedish smile lurked a statistic. Since the IIHF adopted a playoff format in 1996, Sweden was 1-8 in gold medal games, collecting a record 12 silver medals. The ghosts of Gothenburg 2024 and countless Canadian heartbreaks hovered above them. For Czechia, the road was rockier. They opened the tournament with a 7-5 loss to Canada, surrendering 4 third-period goals in a chaotic opener. That defeat lit a fire. Czechia rattled off 5 straight wins, then stunned Canada again in the semi-finals. Trailing late, they exploded for 2 goals in the final minute. Tomas Politin's deflection off his skate at 18:46 and Wojtek Ścichar's empty netter to clinch a 6-4 victory and book their ticket to the final. Or Czech coach Patrik Augusta praised his team's character. "We were looking for a spark, and the guys showed a lot of will." Veteran defender Adam Jiricek anchored the blue line, while forwards Wojtek Ścichar and Petr Sikora led a balanced attack. Goaltender Michal Orsulak had been brilliant, particularly against Canada, where he denied a penalty shot and made jaw-dropping saves. The narrative threads interwove like a tapestry. This was the first all-European gold medal game since Finland beat Russia in 2016. Sweden sought its 3rd gold in tournament history, and to banish the label of perennial bridesmaids. Czechia chased its own 3rd title, and a chance to prove its youth program IIHF's revival was no fluke. With Canada, the US and Finland all out of contention, the world watched eager to see which European flag would be hoisted above the ice. The opening 20 minutes were a chess match. Both sides felt each other out, trading positional jabs rather than haymakers. Early, Sweden nearly struck when Leo Salen Wallenius clanked a point shot off the post just seconds after puck drop. The clang echoed through the arena, a warning shot that this would not be cautious for long. Midway through, the game's first turning point emerged from chaos. Sweden, killing a penalty but with a delayed call coming against Czechia, maintained possession. Captain Jack Berglund, a 6'2" Philadelphia Flyers prospect, danced behind the Czech net, shielding the puck like a basketball forward posting up. He drew defenders to him, then threaded a pass through traffic to Kasper Justavara, who had retrieved his dropped stick and crept to the blue ice. With one touch, Justavara chipped the puck home for a goal that was both short-handed and on a delayed penalty, the perfect embodiment of Sweden's opportunism. Czechia pressed back. Adam Jiricek rang a wrist shot off the post early in the second, his eyes shooting skyward in disbelief. A few minutes later, he intercepted a clearing pass, glided in and ripped a shot that forced Herenstam's blocker into acrobatics. But Sweden's defensive structure, honed through 6 games, suffocated the Czechs. They generated just 1 shot on their first power play and ended the period outshot 8-6. The tension crackled. Every stick check and blocked shot drew groans and gasps. In the middle frame, Sweden began to tighten the noose, On a power play at 9:21, the puck whirled around the perimeter like a meteor, every touch deliberate. Ivar Stenberg, perched high in the slot, threaded a one-timer to Anton Frondel, who blasted at netminder Michal Orsulak. Orsulak sprawled and robbed Frondel with a spectacular save, but the danger wasn't over. Moments later, the puck found Victor Eklund at the side of the net. Eklund jammed the rebound home, making it 2-0 Sweden. Sweden's bench erupted. The sense that this might be their night grew. Throughout the period, Sweden peppered Orsulak with 18 shots, pushing the expected goals count to 6 by the 40-minute mark. Orsulak's heroics kept Czechia alive. He stoned Viggo Bjork on a jam play and gloved a rocket from Jiří Klea. Czech forwards Jakub Klem, Maximilian Kuren and Patrick Galvas managed spurts of pressure, but each time Love Harenstam calmly swallowed the puck. With every Swedish block, the bench pounded the boards. With every Czechian miss, a sigh of relief. Sweden came out for the third smelling blood. Barely 4 minutes in, Ivar Stenberg authored a masterpiece of puck possession. He circled inside the blue line for nearly 15 seconds, fending off 2 Czech defenders, then fed the puck across to Sasha Boumedienne. The Winnipeg Jets prospect stepped into the shot and unleashed a missile over Orsulak's glove, extending the lead to 3-0 at 3:47. It felt like the dagger. Sweden's fans bounced and chanted. There were glimpses of gold in the stands. Then the game veered into chaos. Czechia, desperate, pulled their goalie with more than 3 minutes remaining. At 17:36, Adam Jiricek, who had been outstanding all night, hammered a one-timer from the right circle that finally beat Harenstam. The scoreboard read 3-1 and the mood shifted. Arena staff scrambled to reset camera angles. Swedish players stole nervous glances at the clock. Mate Kubiesa's parents clasped hands in the stands. Only 2 minutes later, with 23 seconds remaining, the improbable happened again. Czechia executed a textbook cross-ice pass. Mate Kubiesa slid into the open seam and fired the puck home. 3-2. The entire Czech bench leapt, sticks thrown in the air. Swedish hearts hammered in chests. On the broadcast, commentators' voices cracked. This can't happen again. Scenes from Sweden's previous heartbreaks flashed in fans' minds. But this time, the story would not finish as before. Off the ensuing face-off, Viggo Bjork flipped the puck out of danger. Czech defender Mate Kubiesa stumbled as he pivoted. Ivar Stenberg seized the loose puck and tore down the ice, empty net yawning. With 8 seconds left, he slid it into the gaping cage. His celebration, a leap into the boards, carried the weight of 2 generations of Swedish juniors. 4-2 Sweden. The building roared as if releasing years of pent-up emotion. Ivar Stenberg was the game's beating heart. Still just 18, the draft-eligible winger combined finesse and fearlessness. He orchestrated the power play goal, owned the zone on Boumedienne's marker, and scored the empty net goal. On his second assist, he controlled the puck for roughly 150 feet, buying time until Boumedienne opened up. Steenberg's ability to shield the puck under pressure drew rave reviews. He dominated puck possession like an NBA point guard controlling tempo. Anton Frondel, named the tournament's best forward, did not score, but his fingerprints were everywhere. In the first period, he threaded the pass that became the shorthanded opener. He nearly scored on the power play, only to be robbed by Orsulak. Off the ice, he provided perspective. It was time for a goal, and we did it. We love each other. It wasn't about individuals, it was about the gold medal. Jack Berglund, Sweden's captain, provided the blueprint for the opener and a calming presence throughout. He leveraged his 209-pound frame to fight off multiple defenders behind the Czech net before feeding Justovara. He also deflected a puck in front on the second goal and later rattled the crossbar in the third period. On the Czech side, Adam Jiricek was a warrior. He logged heavy minutes, blocked shots, nearly tied the game on a second period post, and finally scored late. Goaltender Michal Orsulak was arguably the only reason the score wasn't lopsided. He stoned Swedish shooters repeatedly and posted an expected goals against number that far exceeded the actual goals allowed. Winger Václav Nestrasil, who had chirped the Canadians in the semi-final build-up, battled in the corners and provided an assist, but his lines were mostly neutralized by Sweden's tight defensive coverage. As the final horn sounded and the crowd showered the ice with golden confetti, the Swedish bench erupted in a mixture of elation and relief. Players tossed gloves and helmets, embracing in tearful hugs. Frondel's quote captured the mood. "It was incredible. We did the right things for the team to win. It was not about individuals scoring goals. It was about the gold medal." Coach Havelid, who had guided them through the heartbreak of 2024, smiled through misted eyes. The team formed a circle around Harenstam, their rock, hoisting him aloft. Czech coach Patrick Augusta was gracious in defeat. "I think Sweden played better from the beginning," he admitted. "Our legs weren't going, and the game against Canada last night took a lot of energy. The spark didn't come until it was too late." Adam Jiricek acknowledged Sweden's defensive structure. "They played very well with structure and defense. We were always a step behind." Still, the Czechs left with heads high, securing their 4th straight medal and proving their program's rise was real. On the stat sheet, Sweden outshot Czechia 33-18, including an 18-shot onslaught in the second period. Their power play went 1-for-1, while Czechia was held scoreless with the man advantage. Sweden controlled possession for long stretches, as reflected in Stenberg's prolonged puck possession plays. Czechia's expected goals through 40 minutes sat at 1.8 to Sweden's 6, a testament to Orsolek's brilliance. Sweden won 52% of face-offs and blocked 16 shots. Harenstam finished with 16 saves, improving his tournament goals against average to 1.57 and solidifying his status as the event's top goaltender. On the ice in St. Paul, the weight of history lifted. Sweden's 4-2 victory snapped a 14-year drought and exorcised demons of past finals. It showed that persistence and unity can rewrite a script, that heartbreak can fuel determination. The Tre Krona players wore their medals like armor. They had taken a test of nerves and passed. For Czechia, there was pride in the rally and hope in a young core that has medaled 4 years running. The World Juniors had delivered another timeless story. Resilience rewarded, momentum reversed, and new heroes introduced to the world stage. Thanks for watching.